Taylor Allison Swift nació el 13 de diciembre de 1989. Es una cantautora estadounidense. Es mejor conocida por su composición narrativa que a menudo se centra en su vida personal y ha recibido elogios de la crítica y la cobertura de los medios. A los 14 años, Swift se convirtió en la artista más joven contratada por la editorial Sony, ATV Music y, a los 15 años, firmó su primer contrato discográfico. Su álbum de debut homónimo de 2006 fue el álbum más largo de la década de 2000 en el Billboard 200. Su tercer sencillo, Our Song, la convirtió en la persona más joven en escribir y interpretar una canción número uno en Billboard Hot Country. Tabla de canciones. El segundo álbum de estudio de Swift, Fearless 2008, la impulsó a la fama internacional y produjo los exitosos sencillos pop crossover, Love Story, y You Belong With Me. Se convirtió en el álbum más vendido de 2009 en los EU. Ganó 4 premios Grammy, incluido el álbum del año. El tercer álbum autoescrito de Swift, Speak Now 2010, y el cuarto álbum de doblaje de Género Red, 2012, vendieron cada uno más de 1 millón de copias. En su primera semana en los Estados Unidos, este último produjo su primer sencillo número uno en el Billboard Hot 100, We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. Su quinto álbum y primer proyecto totalmente pop, 1989-2014, produjo los sencillos número uno consecutivos, Shake It Off y Blank Space, y ganó 3 premios Grammy, incluido álbum del año, convirtiendo a Swift en el primero mujer para triunfar en el primer lugar en el Hot 100 y la primera mujer en ganar álbum del año 2 veces como artista principal. Su sexto álbum influenciado por el hip hop, Reputation 2017, la convirtió en la primera y única actuación en la historia de la música en tener 4 álbumes que vendieron 1 millón de copias cada uno en su primera semana en los y produjo su quinta canción número uno en Hot 100, Mira lo que me hiciste hacer. Su séptimo álbum, Lover 2019, trazó sus 18 pistas en el Hot 100 simultáneamente, rompiendo el récord de todos los tiempos de entradas más simultáneas de una artista femenina en la lista, y se convirtió en el álbum de estudio más vendido del mundo después de haber vendido más de 50 millones de álbumes puros y 150 millones de sencillos a nivel mundial. Swift ha sido incluido en múltiples clasificaciones de poder, como la lista anual de Time de las 100 personas más influyentes del mundo 2010, 2015 y 2019, Rolling Stone's 100 los mejores compositores de todos los tiempos.
was just wondering if we could talk about your tour. Of all the country artists, you probably have the most international tour ever. I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about what it's like to play different countries, what the fan base is like, if you do anything different, and I just wanted to say we're very excited to have you back in Toronto next week.
Thanks! Touring internationally has been one of the coolest things that I've gotten to do this year. We started off the year in January going to Asia and touring in places I never thought I'd get to go to, like the Philippines and Singapore and Korea, and back to Japan, and then going straight to Europe and getting to play in places that I never expected people to know the words to all the songs. Like, you're playing in like Germany or Spain or Italy, and you look out and they know every single word. It was an amazing experience, and now being on the US and North American leg of the tour, it's just so cool to get to put on a different kind of show. We completely revamped the stage, and it's a different setup and everything, because for international you have to have like a different stage that you could take everywhere. So this has been amazing, having dancers and aerialists, and we just played our first stadium last night in Detroit, and I'm still like, I have a permanent smile on my face because of it, so we can't wait to get to Toronto too.
Donna?
Well, speaking of the stadium tour, talk about how massive that is. You're going to play another one tonight as well. But you also have a few more this month, I think, to play. Talk about the crowds there and playing to that kind of audience.
Well, I'm so excited because we get to do 4 stadiums this month, and then throughout the tour we're doing 4 more. So it's such an amazing experience being surrounded by 50,000 people who are all singing the same thing. And, you know, it was an amazing experience last night. You look out and it's just this never-ending sea of people for as far as you can see, and I just felt so lucky to get to have that life experience and that memory like forever in my head.
Hunter?
Hi.
Hey!
Partisan Music Festival, the money raised goes to schools in Nashville for music education. I also know that the Tornado Benefit Concert raised a bunch of money for dress rehearsal. Also giving to schools. Why isn't giving back important to a country artist like yourself?
I think that I just feel really honored to have been put in a position by the fans to then maybe turn around and possibly have some sort of impact on people who are hurting or in need. You know, when the tornado happened, it was just nobody saw it coming. It was from out of nowhere, and we were sitting in rehearsal and watching the coverage of it, and it just seemed like, is there any way we can help? And it turned out that we had an empty arena booked for a dress rehearsal. Why not sell tickets? And I just am so thankful to the building and to everyone who came together to make that something that we could put together a date. And of course to the fans for coming out and helping us raise $750,000.
Anthony?
Can you talk about your relationship with your fans and the fact that you're larger than life, and yet you're able to have your mom go pick out some fans to meet you backstage?
We have so much fun with shows because there are of course like several meet and greets before the show. And then after the show there's this meet and greet called the Tea Party, where we go throughout the show. I have people that I trust going around. They know what I like what to look for like really passionate like people in the crowd who are maybe at the top rows or in the 4th row, but anyone who's just like dancing and having the best time throughout the entire concert, or maybe they dressed up like characters from the music video, or maybe they're just like all lit up or something. And we have so much fun after the show because we have all these people come into this one room, and you know, it's been so much fun to try to say thank you to as many fans as I possibly can on this tour.
Chris?
Hi. Mean has been a big song for you, country radio, and I know you'd always kind of target as, you know, a country single down the road. So, and it's very ritzy, so I'm hoping that pretends a bluegrass album for you someday. A lot of your songs, people have wondered, you know, is it too pop for country? And I just wondered if you had any thoughts, anyone have any thoughts about this one being too bluegrass for country, or whether you always prefer?
Well, for me, it's just really fun to see Mean do well. And it's so gratifying, especially judging, you know, based on what I wrote that song about. And based on the fact that it came from me going through a really tough time and writing that song because I just felt so powerless. I just didn't know what else to say or what else to do. And hearing that song being sung louder than my voice is coming through the PA in a stadium is sort of the coolest experience of my life, because when you write a song and it comes from such a vulnerable moment in your life, and then you get to stand on a stage and the affirmation that 50,000 people have gone through that too and they're singing along, it's been kind of wonderful.
Daniel?
You recently got some advice from Deborah Gibson.
Really?
There was a big article posted about it.
What did she say?
I'm not sure. That's why I was going to ask you. How would you compare your career with hers?
This is like the first I'm hearing of that though. That's really cool.
I like that.
That's awesome. Way to be on top of it. I need to read more. No, I don't need to read anything actually. But that's really cool. Thanks for telling me about it.
In blue?
Taylor, you've already achieved so much success that most artists only dream about. I was wondering, do you have any personal or professional goals that you haven't reached yet, and if so, what are they?
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Any award that you've won once, it's definitely a goal to win that award twice, possibly. You sit there and you're like, my life will be complete if I get a record deal. And then you're like, my life will be complete if I have an album come out. And then, you make these goals, and then as you achieve them, it's like, it would be the coolest thing in the world to get to keep doing it. And so, let's see. All the stadiums on this tour that I've never played before, I'm really excited about playing. Going to South America and touring, I'm really excited about. Going back to Australia, those are all things I really want to do. And what else? I don't know. I mean, I would just love to keep doing this. That would be awesome.
Curtis?
Congratulations on your CMT Music Award win, by the way.
Thanks!
And can you comment a little bit on that, because it's a fan-voted award, and also on being able to work with Shania for that project?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so the CMT Music Awards, I had such an amazing time, like, getting to be at a concert in Milwaukee, and we were all in the arena there, and the crowd is sitting there, and then all of a sudden on the back screen, like, live, the CMT Music Awards pops up. So we were like watching an award show while not being there, but then all of a sudden I'm a part of it and on the back screen at the same time. It was really interesting, and I just was so excited that the fans decided to vote for me for that. They've been so amazing to me. And also the CMT Music Awards provided a wonderful opportunity to hang out with my biggest hero ever. That was sort of a pinch me moment. Driving around in an old car with Shania Twain for an entire day was just unbelievable. I can't say enough amazing things about her.
We're going to do 3 more questions. It's going to be Becca, Barry, and Neil.
Hey.
I had a chance to see your rehearsal, and I was just truly blown away by the imagination it must have taken to put that all together. I know that you said that you got a lot of inspiration from Broadway, and you have done some acting. I'm wondering, obviously not now with your life as hectic as it is, but is that ever a goal that you might have, to do something actually on Broadway and take that a step further?
First of all, thank you. Thanks for coming to that. I get inspired by a lot of different things, and I feel like since I was a little kid, I've always been really just fascinated by Broadway and how you have set pieces coming in from the sides and from the ceiling and then from the floor, and all of a sudden you're in a completely different world and you're sucked in and you're in the experience, you're in the story. That's something that I've seen done really well on Broadway, and I started out in theater, so that's probably stuck with me as far as inspiration goes. As far as going and being on Broadway, it hasn't crossed my mind recently because I'm just having so much fun doing what I'm doing. But acting has always really fascinated me too, I've gotten to do some fun stuff like host SNL, and that's been one of the most exciting experiences of my life so far. So I'm glad that you like the show.
Barry?
After your success in the UK, have you got any advice you could offer to any other artists that are looking to go over?
Scotland. To other artists?
Yeah.
I think that I have no idea why I've been lucky enough to get to go overseas and have my music work over there. I don't really know why it's working, but I'm really happy that it is. And I think, you know, it takes going over there and making a commitment. You have to go over there and spend time with your fans. Wherever you want to have fans, you should go and meet them. And so I think that's something that we've been going over to the UK since I was 18, and it's been 3 years. So it's been wonderful to get to know them and recognize people every time we go back.
Neil for the final.
Hi, Taylor.
Hey!
Good to see you again.
It's great to see you too.
My pleasure. First time I saw you on tour was opening for Brad Paisley in California. And I noticed that the first wave of fans that went to the stage were preteen and young girls. But there was a second wave right after them of their young 25 to 35-year-old mothers cheering just as loud as the kids. And I assumed that was pretty much your core audience at first. So I wondered how much of that remains and how important is it for you to service that talent you expand into a larger main audience?
Well, for me, I look out into the crowds and I see every kind of person, every age, and that's been so wonderful to see. You know, there are a lot of girls that are my age and a lot of girls that, you know, if I lived in their town, we'd probably be hanging out, because it feels like with my fans, it feels like there's a camaraderie and we kind of understand each other, because when I walk out on that stage, I know that if they're there that night and if they're singing along to my songs, they've been through the same things that I've been through. So when I meet my fans, it's not like meeting a stranger, it's sort of like saying hello to someone that I already know is on the same page with me. And I just feel so thankful to have that understanding between us, because I have so much fun with them. They're incredibly cool people, and I'm really happy that I get to spend the summer with them. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
See y'all later.
Keep working. There you go.
Oh, sorry.
And right here, Taylor, which way? One time to your left, please. And straight ahead, please.
All right, guys.
Hola. What is your name? Andre. Andre is going to translate.
You're translating.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Need your help.
Pleasure.
So he's basically going to read all the questions for
Yes, I'll read the questions in Portuguese for them to know, and then I'll translate them to you. You will make your answer, and I'll translate the answer.
Here's the mic, and tem seu microfone.
A primeira pergunta é por que o nome do CD é Red? Why is your CD, your album named Red?
My album is called Red because red is a very intense emotion, and red is the emotion of it's the color of passion.
O vermelho é a cor da paixão, de uma emoção muito intensa. In this new album, nesse novo disco, você teve a oportunidade de trabalhar com o cantor Ed Sheeran. Vocês já se conheciam antes? Como surgiu a ideia da parceria? In this new album, you had the chance to work with singer Ed Sheeran. Have you met him before? How this idea of the partnership came about?
I was a huge fan of Ed Sheeran ever since I heard the song Lego House when I was in Australia, and I just fell in love with his music.
Eu fui uma grande fã do Ed Sheeran quando escutei a música
Lego House.
Like a House.
Lego House.
Lego House, na Austrália.
And writing a song with him came about because he actually reached out to my management team and wanted to write with me, and I thought it would be an amazing idea.
E a composição com ele surgiu porque ele entrou em contato com a minha equipe e eu achei que compor com ele era uma ideia fantástica.
And when we decided to write together, we ended up writing a few songs, and the one that made the album is a song called Everything Has Changed, and we recorded it as a duet.
Quando nós fizemos várias músicas e uma delas foi Everything Come As a Change, que foi gravada como um dueto. Will you sing? Você vai cantar a música Roman hoje? Fale um pouco sobre ela. Will you perform Roman tonight? Talk us about this song.
The song Ronan is a song that is so sad and hard for me to sing that I probably won't ever sing it live again. It was perfect for the Stand Up to Cancer event that I sang it on.
É uma canção muito triste para mim cantar e eu provavelmente nunca mais vou cantá-la ao vivo. Eu só cantei para o evento de câncer. If you could, se você pudesse escolher um artista vivo ou morto para cantar com você, quem você escolheria? If you could pick a singer, alive or dead, to sing with you, who would you pick?
I think honestly I would say Ed Sheeran, and I got to sing a duet with him on my album, so I'm very excited.
Ela honestamente escolheria o Ed Sheeran e ela vai cantar um dueto com ele no álbum, então ela está muito animada com isso. Você tem um personal stylist ou escolhe as suas próprias roupas? Do you have a personal stylist or do you select your own clothes?
Both, actually, because I have a stylist, but he brings in racks and racks of clothing and says, what do you want to wear to this? And then I pick something, and he knows me very well, so it's good.
Os dois. Ela tem um stylist que traz um monte de roupas e dentre as roupas que ele traz, ela escolhe o que ela quer usar. Então funciona bem, ele a conhece muito bem. Que tipo de mudanças você passou como artista desde o seu primeiro álbum? What kind of changes do you think you have experienced as an artist since your first album, Taylor Swift?
I think as an artist I've gotten more experimental with my sound and focused more on my lyrics, and I hope as an artist I've grown.
Como artista, eu fiz mais experiências com a minha música e eu espero ter crescido como artista. Você experimentou novas coisas no álbum Red? E o que podemos esperar da sonoridade desse novo álbum? Have you experimented new things for this new album, Red? What can we expect from the sound of this new album?
The sound of this album is different from any album I've done before because I've worked with new collaborators and really let them influence the sound of this album.
A sonoridade é diferente de qualquer outro álbum que ela já fez antes, porque trabalhou com muitos colaboradores e eles influenciaram muito a sonoridade do álbum. Você é símbolo da música country. No Brasil, sua parceria com a Paula Fernandes foi um sucesso. Como você a conheceu? You're a country music symbol. In Brazil, your partnership with Paula Fernandes was a hit. How did you meet her?
I actually am so excited because I get to meet Paula today for the first time. And I can't wait.
Ela está muito animada porque vai encontrar a Paula hoje pela primeira vez e mal pode esperar. Como foi trabalhar com outros compositores nesse álbum, ao contrário do CD anterior composto somente por você? How was working with other songwriters in this album, differently than the previous one that you were the only songwriter?
This was a completely different process, making this album, because when you work with different people, you learn about their style in the studio, and I think it makes you try new things and really experiment with your sound.
Foi um processo diferente, porque você, quando trabalha com outros compositores, você é influenciada por eles e você tem novas experiências e acrescenta sons novos. Alguma coisa te surpreendeu no Brasil? O Brasil era tudo o que você esperava? Did anything surprise you in Brazil? Brazil was all that you were expecting?
I think what surprised me the most are the fans and how dedicated they are. There have been so many fans outside the hotel, and they've been like screaming the words to the songs ever since we got here, and it's just been really amazing to be welcomed that way.
O que surpreendeu foi os fãs. Os fãs estão na porta, ficam cantando as músicas. Isso foi muito surpreendente. O que você achou de ser eleita Mulher do Ano? How do you feel about being Woman of the Year?
Being named Billboard Woman of the Year was amazing and very flattering. So it's something I'm really proud of.
Foi fantástico e é uma honra, é algo que eu me orgulho muito. Would you like? Você gostaria de ver Long Live cantado em português? Would you like to hear Long Live sang in Portuguese?
I love hearing it sung in Portuguese. It sounds really beautiful to me. And the fans, when they sing along, they sing in Portuguese. So it's really amazing, and I can't wait to eventually sing it with Paula live.
Eu adoro ouvir isso cantar em português, e os fãs, quando cantam junto, eles cantam em português. Eu estou muito animada para cantar ao vivo com a Paula essa música. O que você já fez no Rio de Janeiro? O que achou da cidade? What have you done in Rio? How did you like the city?
The city is beautiful. I love the mountains, and I have a beautiful view of the ocean from my room. But so far, all I've had time to do was sleep.
A cidade é linda, eu tenho uma vista do mar ótima do meu quarto, mas até agora tudo que eu fiz foi dormir. Você pretende voltar ao Brasil para fazer uma turnê? Se sim, quando? Do you plan to return to Brazil for a tour? If so, when?
I would love to return here for a tour because I think the fans would be so loud, judging by how they've been acting so far. I would love that.
Eu adoraria voltar para uma turnê porque eu acho que os fãs iam adorar. Eu posso ver isso pelo exemplo que eu tenho visto até agora. O que você está achando dos fãs brasileiros? What's your opinion about Brazilian fans?
They are fantastic and crazy and wonderful.
Eles são fantásticos e loucos e maravilhosos. Qual foi a inspiração para o novo single We Are Never Ever? What was the inspiration for the new single We Are Never Ever?
The inspiration for the song We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together was getting to that point where you've been in a bad relationship and you just throw your hands up and hit that moment where you don't care anymore.
O momento foi quando você está numa relação ruim e chega aquele ponto que você põe as mãos pro alto e apenas não liga mais. This is it. The questions that I have here.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for translating. That couldn't have been easy.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Tyler. Do you mind standing so that you can take a picture here in this room?
Sure, we're like here?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Taylor Swift's Uno de los Músicos más vendidos del mundo de todos los tiempos. Ha vendido más de 50 millones de LBUMES peros hasta la fecha, incluidos 37, 3 millones en los y 150 millones de sencillos en todo el mundo. A nivel mundial, es una de los 5 artistas principales en términos de ventas digitales y ha acumulado más de 97 millones de unidades en el consumo de LBUMES y 54 mil millones de reproducciones en todas las plataformas. Los primeros 5 LBUMES de estudio de Swift han vendido cada uno más de 4 millones de copias solo en los Estados Unidos. Es la tercera artista de singles digitales más vendida en los EU. Hasta el momento, con un total de 120 millones de unidades equivalentes certificadas por la Recording Industry Association of America, RIAA. Fue la música femenina mejor pagada de la década de 2010, y ocupa el segundo lugar en la lista de Forbes de los músicos con mayores ingresos de la década con ganancias de 825 millones. En 2020, se convirtió en la primera artista femenina en los EU. En tener un LBUM, Fearless, y una canción, Shake It Off, certificados como diamantes por la RIAA, por lo que Taylor Swift ha aparecido en varios listados de poder. Time la incluye en su lista anual de las 100 personas más influyentes en 2010, 2015 y 2019. De 2011 a 2010, apareció en los 3 primeros en la lista Forbes de mujeres con mayores ingresos en la música con ganancias de 45 millones, 57 millones, 55 millones, 64 millones, 80 millones, 170 millones, 44 millones y 80 millones, encabezando la lista en 2016 y 2019. También encabez la lista de la revista de las 100 celebridades Measure 2016 con 170 millones, una haza que entr en el Guinness World Records y nuevamente en 2019 con 185 millones, se ubic en la mujer más joven en ser incluida en la lista de Forbes de las 100 mujeres más poderosas, en el puesto 64. Fue una de las finalistas de Time Person of el AO en 2014 y fue galardonado con el honor en 2017 como uno de los rompedores del silencio que habla sobre la agresión sexual. En junio de 2019, Forbes estimó el patrimonio neto de Swift en 360 millones. Swift fue la artista musical femenina más buscada en Google de 2019.
That was really nice of you to stand up. Thank you so much. That was incredible. How are you doing? Yeah, I mean, thank you so much for coming to this. This is so wonderful of you to want to be here. I just want to thank Lana for all the work that she put into this. And we started the process not really knowing if we were going to end up with a documentary. It was just sort of like, let's film, let's see what you see. And this was completely in her hands. And I really appreciate all the hours we talked, those interviews. There were a lot of hours that she had to hear me talk about my feelings. So, thank you. Thank you so much for everything you are, all the work you put in, all the thought and care and empathy you put into what you do. Thank you so much.
Total honor for me to get to film with you during what ended up being a really transformational chapter in your life. And I think one thing that was so surprising to me is that there are so many things that anyone can relate to. I think that we're all on social media now. We're all living publicly in some ways. We all want people to like us, and we're all more conscious than ever on whether they do or not, and you've been living this supercharged version of that. And getting to see you go away from the public eye and then come back into the public eye, having learned and grown and changed in all these ways, and then that strength giving you the chance to do something else was really amazing to get to witness.
Thanks. So I've never done this before. What do we do? Do we talk? We have a conversation.
I'm happy to just let you talk. I do. Clearly you two have a real rapport. I'm curious. What was your first meeting like?
Go for it.
Well, I remember when I first heard about this potential project, I'd always admired Taylor from afar. I knew she'd written all her own songs when she was 12 years old, and I knew that she was, at the head of her music and her business, and I thought, wow, she must have gone through unimaginable levels of pressure and scrutiny to have this extraordinary 15-year career with all of that stuff. And when we first met, Taylor immediately wanted to talk about narrative structure in documentary film. We connected very easily as storytellers, I feel like, and we talked about ideas, we talked about documentaries we liked and that we didn't like. I remember you saying that you didn't like documentaries that felt like propaganda, and I was thrilled to hear that because I feel the same way. And we talked about how you were really interested in doing something that wasn't like a lot of pop star documentaries, something that felt really raw and intimate and real, and you really wanted to give me space as a director to bring a perspective to the project, and that was such a gift for me. So I remember just, storytelling the bat and how exciting that was.
I remember the same thing. I think she puts it in a really beautiful, eloquent, articulate way, but I just really I watch a lot of TV, I watch a lot of documentaries, I watch a lot of movies, and I'm a fan of what she had done. I really want to say thank you to Lisa at Netflix for really kind of showing me Lana's work. Lana's work before she worked with me, a film called After Taylor was one that I thought that the way that she was so artfully maneuvered through such a touchy subject with such emotional intelligence. That was what made me such a fan. And I just really wanted to talk about your work.
I feel the same way, and in fact, when I heard that Lana was directing this film about you, I thought, what a perfect person to make this film. And I told you that when I called you. I am curious about the working relationship you guys had, and how did you negotiate that? Were there ground rules, or?
I mean, there weren't really ground rules. You were very open from the beginning, and I think you see that in the film. And it was just a matter of when we could get together. But it was a lot of filming. For me, my favorite parts were probably filming you in the studio, getting to see your creative process. It's a really intimate space, and I know no one filmed you in the studio before. So that was probably my favorite thing that we filmed. But similarly, even the interviews, when we first met, you hadn't done press, I think, for almost 3 years. So I remember it was a big deal to do that first interview. And I think that we just, yeah, I had a really easy rapport. I could talk a long time about anything. And it was just exciting that things actually really shifted in your life during the period of time that we were filming.
I completely agree. Having someone in the studio when I'm writing is something I've never done before, because I didn't want to know if it would stop me from, feeling like I could come up with ideas and feeling like I could throw things out. And there's so much, ridiculous sounding ad-libbing that you do when you're writing songs. It's like so much of it sounds ridiculous until it sounds all right. And a lot of that time, I've just always refused to have any cameras in the studio when I'm writing, because I just feel like, what if I can't do it? And then we've wasted a day, and then I've wasted another creator's time, I've wasted a producer's time, I've wasted a co-writer's time, and I can't write if somebody's there. But I think one of the things about you is that for so much of my life, in the public eye, when I get sad or upset or humiliated or angry or go through a really horrible time, I feel people lean in with like this hunger. And you never did that to me. And that was what made me feel okay about feeling sadness, anger, humiliation around you, because I felt like when I got sad, you did too. And so it made all of that all right. It didn't make me feel like, oh, she feels like she's got a good part for her movie now. And I really want to thank you for that.
There's such a strong theme of approval and needing to make others happy. I'm wondering if you could talk more about that as one of the driving themes, and also were there certain things that you really wanted to capture thematically in this film?
Well, so much stuff emerged over time. I mean, I think the theme of approval is something that so many people relate to. We all want people to like us, and I think girls, especially growing up in this culture, are taught that other people's approval is of paramount importance to their self-worth. So, the voices saying, was I nice enough? Are they mad at me? These are questions I and every woman I know ask themselves at least a dozen times every day. And, seeing you experience that, but in this international stage, but then coming to this completely new understanding of your relationship to other people's approval was really inspiring and empowering. Saying, I'm still going to be a nice person, but it's okay if people are a little uncomfortable sometimes. Felt like a really huge leap. And so, yeah, I connected a lot to that for sure. And even to the moment, the scene where you discuss with your team and family, the political endorsement, it's so powerful because of the politics, but also because it's watching you with people who love you the most in the world say, I love you, you're looking out for my best interests, but I to disagree and do things my own way. That's a moment that so many of us experience in our lives at one point or another. And I thought it was so powerful as this coming of age event and the profound ending of this multi-layered process you went through to lead you to that decision. I really don't think I could say anything better than, so if she did, she'll answer something, I'm just like, yeah. Exactly.
But that scene is it's such a crucial part of the film, and I think that it's so incredibly moving. I'm wondering, like, how do you feel at this point watching that in this film?
I remember feeling like, my dad has always just been so terrified about my safety since I was a kid. That's always been it. The fact that my job entails standing on a stage, and there are so many threats we get on a daily basis that nobody ever knows about, and we try to keep that stuff under wraps as much as possible, but my dad is the one who has to see it. And so for him, it was all about like, what does this do? What could happen to you if you say this? If you say this, am I potentially is my daughter in danger? And is this the moment when I should have stopped it from happening? I think my parents, you know, I had been speaking to my mom so much about it, and, you know, she went through the trial with me in Denver, which was, you know, a really horrible experience to have. And I had all the privilege in the world and you know, financial support and the ability to pay for a brilliant lawyer. And that is, you know, I won that trial, but without all that, I don't know what would have happened. So it taught me so much, and it was the women in my life who were there every single day going into court. And, you know, that for me was a very, you know, our political opinions and our opinions are defined by what happens to us in our life. So that was one of the things that happened to me in my life, and seeing what was happening in my home state. And then it all culminating in having to have a conversation with people who have been so wonderfully supportive of me throughout my entire career, feeling so afraid for my safety. And so it's a really real moment for me to watch that back.
You know, there's such a timeliness to this film, and and I think that when I watch this film, I feel like it has the possibility to make such like real impact. Like I want all young women everywhere to see this film, because I feel like that's the power of this film.
It's you. I mean, I want to thank Taylor again, because it takes a lot of bravery to do this. This isn't something you had to do. You've dealt with more public scrutiny than almost any private individual. This is not something you had to do, and it takes a lot of courage, and I think it's because you understood the comfort and the inspiration that it would bring to people, especially young women. So it's just really bold of you to be willing to make this kind of film with me. So I really want to thank you for that.
We unfortunately have to start wrapping things up, but Taylor, I have one last question for you. I'm a notorious cat lady, as I know you are. So of course I want to know where Meredith, Olivia, and Benjamin are at this very moment, while the world premiere of your film is happening.
Well, they're right in the back row, just right up there. No, they're not here. I'm sorry. I wish they were, but unfortunately they don't care about anything that I do. But I love them so much. You know, Detective Olivia Benson, and Dr. Meredith Grey, and Benjamin Button, the loves of my life. Thank you for asking about them. I will tell them they will not care, but I do. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here.